Señores, espero que ahora sí se escuche. Me avisan si se escucha todo bien. Hello, Steve, are you there?
I am, yes.
Okay, let's see. I downloaded again the program, and I hope it works now. It must work, but I'm just gonna try. A ver. Just one moment. I just started. And ok, señores, sí me escuchan, ¿no? Ok, let's see. Señores, como les dije, aquí está Steve. Y Steve, let's see if the people can you speak?
Yes. Hoping everyone can hear me.
Okay, yes. Now, señores, bueno, qué suerte. Ahora sí se escucha. It's going well. So now, Steve, señores, aquí está Steve Mera y él nos va a contar de su trabajo con la Momia de Nazca. Okay, Steve, all yours.
Wonderful. Okay, so I've been involved in this investigation of the Nazca mummies just over a year, since June of 2017, and I first became aware of these Nazca mummies through Gaia TV, who put some information out, a video on the internet.
Como él dice, él empezó con todo esto cuando él vio un programa de Gaia en donde los investigadores estaban sacando muestras de la momia en el techo en junio del 2017, ¿ok?
At that time, I was currently assisting a friend of Thierry Hamming, who is the president of the Inkari Institute, in regards to a video documentary, and he put me in touch with Thierry.
En ese tiempo, él estaba ayudando a un amigo que era uno de los de la presidencia de Inkari y lo puso en contacto con Thierry Hamming.
Now, I have to say, this has probably been, in the last 34 years of investigations, probably the most challenging investigation, and also rather upsetting investigation as well.
Él dice que esto fue una de las investigaciones más difíciles y al mismo tiempo más frustrantes.
Okay, so I talked with Thierry Hamming, and it was agreed that myself and my colleague conduct the official investigation to assist them in regarding what these mummies represented.
Él se contactó con Thierry Hamming y quiso saber lo que representaban estas momias.
We agreed to travel to Peru.
Él aceptó viajar a Perú.
We left in July of 2017 and traveled to Lima, and then on to from Lima to Cusco, and we met up with Thierry Hamming and two other members, Jose and Alexander, from the Inkari Institute at the hotel we were staying at.
En julio de 2017 él viajó a Lima y de Lima viajó a Cusco y se encontró con Thierry Hamming y dos directivos más de Inkari, José and who else?
We interviewed Thierry at the hotel, and he told us that Vaqueros, grave robbers,
él entrevistó a Thierry Hamming y le dijo a Steve que Vaqueros, que son los que sacan cosas arqueológicas, small short things I will be translating, okay?
Okay. Told us that the grave robbers had brought these bodies into the Inkari Institute for them to investigate.
Le dijeron de que los vaqueros habían traído los cuerpos para investigarlos a Inkari.
That the grave robbers did own the bodies, and Thierry said that they would be returned to them at some stage.
Y que los cuerpos pertenecían a los vaqueros y que en algún momento tenían que devolvérselos a ellos. You say that they will have to give it back, the bodies. Okay.
Yes, they would have to give them back at some point. Thierry and the Inkari Institute had conducted some investigation and analysis and were telling me that these were aliens, ETs.
Y que Inkari y Terry Amin habían conducido investigaciones y le decían a Steve Mera de que estos eran extraterrestres. Okay?
Yep. They told me of the location where they were found was in Nazca, a cave or tomb under the ground which had been discovered.
Y le dijeron que los vaqueros habían encontrado estas momias en una cueva o en una tumba que fue descubierta por los vaqueros.
They told me an elaborate story how a number of people had got into the tomb or cave and had found bodies and had also seen some live creatures of the same sort running away through adjacent tunnels.
Y dice que le contaron que no solamente encontraron momias, las personas que entraron, sino también seres vivos que estaban caminando y que se escaparon por una serie de túneles en este sitio.
They also told me that some tunnels opened up into large areas where there was large pieces of gold equipment and strange mummified creatures.
Dice que algunos túneles y pasajes daban algunos sitios como unos cuartos en donde habían máquinas o indumentarias de oro extrañas.
Thierry Hamming also stated that he found a skull in the cave which was just over a meter wide in diameter.
Thierry Amin también le contó a Steven Mera que él había encontrado un cráneo, a skull, you're saying a skull head,
Skull, yes.
que medía 1 metro de diámetro, que él encontró en esta cueva. He found this in this cave.
Yes, he said he'd seen this, amongst many other things. He also claimed to have seen a large blue-coloured ET, which materialized and then disappeared.
Dice que Terry a mí le contó que él personalmente vio este cráneo y no solamente eso, sino también una entidad extraterrestre de color azul que se materializaba y después se desaparecía.
He claimed there was a sarcophagus in the cave.
Dijo que había un sarcófago en la cueva.
Which contained bodies, or 29-inch bodies, and some stones which were carved looking like alien faces and UFOs.
Dice que encontraron cuerpos en este sarcófago, pero también piedras que se veían como ovnis.
He also told us that there was a very high magnetic anomaly that was causing problems, not allowing them to take photographs and videos very well, and that one of the discoverers, had actually died.
One of the discoverers. You mean a vaquero?
Yes.
Dice que Thierry a mí le contó también que había un campo electromagnético muy fuerte en este sitio, que eso impedía que se tomaran fotos o videos, y que además uno de los descubridores de los vaqueros murió. Do you know why he died? In which type? Because many people said they died because the aliens defended themselves.
He didn't tell us how he died. There was no information to tell us that the aliens defended themselves. That's probably another story.
Bueno, yo le estaba diciendo a Steven de que que habíamos escuchado cosas que los aliens se habían estado defendiendo, pero que él dice que Terry a mí no le contó cómo fue que murió el vaquero, pero que lo que yo estoy contando debe ser otra historia de las tantas que han hecho, ¿no?
At this time, they also discovered Mera, the large humanoid body, and small baby, Wawita, in the same cave, but just buried in dirt. They were not in sarcophagus.
Y al mismo tiempo le contó Terry Yamin que encontraron en ese momento a María y a Guaguita, quienes no estaban no fueron encontradas en un sarcófago. But that's very strange because the history to us was that they discovered Maria in a sarcophagus. That's very funny.
Yes, some of the photographs that they released showed the cave entrance with stones in front, and those stones are not indigenous to that area. That's for sure, and also that the sarcophagus was relatively small and would not house the size of Maria.
Dice de que las fotos que mostraron con las piedras de la entrada no eran piedras del tipo que se ven hechas por indígenas antiguos, y que el sarcófago que presentaron no era un sarcófago del tamaño tal como para poder albergar al menos a María. ¿Ya?
Yeah, and they told us also that the Peruvian government were looking for these bodies, and that Thierry Hamin had already been called in to answer questions about where the bodies are, and he lied to the ministry when he in fact had them.
Él le contaron también de que Thierry Yamin fue llamado a comparecer por el ministerio y de que Thierry Yamin realmente mintió porque dijo que no sabía dónde estaban los cuerpos, cuando en realidad sí él sabía dónde estaban, y estaban en Incarri. Okay? So he lied to the ministry saying he doesn't know and they had them in Incarri.
I believe so, yes, that's correct.
Él dice que así es. Did he tell you this or you thought this?
Oh, well, we thought it, but we also went there and we also saw them.
Ok, o sea, él no le contó, pero ellos sospecharon y fueron a Incarri y vieron los cuerpos. O sea, Thierry Yamin dijo, él no sabía, pero al mismo tiempo estaba mintiendo porque Steve Mera las vio en Incarri, ¿ok?
Okay, so the following day I went to conduct further interviews at the Incarri Institute in Cusco.
You did further interviews. Y Steve Mera le hizo otras se comunicó con Thierry Yamin y le hizo nuevas entrevistas en Incarri, Cusco, ¿ya?
Yes, at this time we thought they were telling the truth to us and we were there to support them. However, whilst I was interviewing Thierry Hamin at the Incarri Institute, my colleague was approached and told that they wanted $1,500 up front to continue, and we told them no.
Dice que ellos querían apoyar a Incarri y a Thierry Yamin, pero mientras él estaba hablando con Thierry Yamin, alguien se le acercó a su colega de Steve Mera pidiéndole $1,400. For what was the $1,400?
$1,500.
For what?
Just to continue.
Oh, to continue the interviews.
Yes.
Para poder continuar las entrevistas, le estaban pidiendo al colega de Steve Mera $1,500. Okay?
We told them no. We were there to support them, and that they should not be doing this.
Y ellos dijeron que no, que Steve Mera había venido para apoyarlos, pero que ellos no iban a apoyar de esta manera. Yes?
Now this made us very suspicious, as we started to think that the Incarri Institute actually was not on our side, even though we were there to support them.
Y esto fue algo muy sospechoso porque...
And really a little bit more about Thierry Hamin, because there's been a lot of talk and paperwork over the internet in regards to Thierry Hamin, yet he continues to conduct work in that field.
Y que actualmente, y que en realidad el gobierno francés mandó un documento al gobierno peruano diciendo que Thierry Yamin no estaba calificado para hacer ningún tipo de investigación arqueológica en el Perú, ¿ya?
So we were becoming very suspicious. But we did finish the interviews. We talked with all the members of the Incarri Institute, and we headed back to the hotel.
Y ellos, pero a pesar de esto, Steve Mera continuó con las entrevistas, conoció a todos los Incarri y después se fueron de vuelta a su hotel, ¿ya?
The following day, we were picked up
al día siguiente fueron recogidos
by a cab, a taxi driver,
por un taxista,
at the hotel we were staying at to go and view the bodies.
en el hotel para poder ir a ver los cuerpos.
We were taken up out of Cusco
Fueron llevados fuera de Cusco
to a location where we managed to see the bodies.
a una localidad donde ellos podían ver los cuerpos.
We were told that we were not allowed to film at first.
Les dijeron que no estaban permitidos de filmar al comienzo.
We told them that it was important for us to film to let the world know about these discoveries.
Ellos dijeron que eso era importante para que el mundo entero se entere de este descubrimiento.
They agreed to allow us to film only if we do not show them on film. If we do, then they would confiscate our equipment.
Can you say it again, because I don't understand. They told you you can film it, but you are not allowed to put it on the web or what?
No, we were allowed to film the bodies, but we weren't allowed to show them on the camera. Otherwise, they would take our equipment from us.
You were not allowed to show them on the camera.
We're not allowed to show the huaqueros.
Oh, okay. Dice que decían que todo era permitido, que tenían permiso para poder filmar los cuerpos, pero que no estaban permitidos de filmar a los huaqueros, que si ellos filmaban a los huaqueros mientras les mostraban los cuerpos, les iban a confiscar todos los equipos de filmación. Who tells you this? ¿Quién te dijo esto?
They told me this. Thierry Hamin.
Thierry Yamin le dijo esto, o sea, lo amenazó, que si él filmaba, he menaced you or told you, if you film the huaqueros, I'm going to take out your equipment.
He said the huaqueros will take our equipment. We're not allowed to film them.
Thierry Yamin le dijo de que si es que él filmaba a los huaqueros, que no estaba permitido, los huaqueros le iban a quitar el equipo, ¿ok?
We agreed and we set up a camera and we were taken into a room that was like an operating theatre, very clean, and had an X-ray machine on the wall to look at X-rays, and we conducted a physical examination of all the bodies.
Dice que lo llevaron a un cuarto que estaba más o menos limpio y arreglado, con una máquina de rayos X y una vitrina para poder ver los rayos X, y que les permitieron también auscultar y hacer análisis en los cuerpos.
The first body that we were shown was a small 12-inch long body, and clearly I identified it as a fake straight away because it had a head of a fish.
Le mostraron un primer cuerpo, el cual que medía algo de 12 pies, 12 inch in centimeters, you don't know.
A foot long, 12 inches.
12 inches, I don't know that in centimeters.
1 foot, 30 centimeters.
1 foot, 30 centímetros de largo, y que dice que ellos descartaron que esto sea cierto porque la cabeza era de un pescado.
Only small. And I wanted to confirm that the X-rays being shown to us did in fact belong to the bodies that we were examining.
You were, again please, it was cut.
I wanted to make sure that the X-rays we were being shown were in fact belonging to the bodies we were examining.
Y él quería constatar que los rayos X que él estaba viendo pertenecían a los cuerpos que él estaba analizando.
All the X-rays were officially the right ones for the bodies. They were the X-rays of those bodies.
Y todos los rayos X constataron ellos que sí eran de los cuerpos que ellos estaban viendo.
I told them the first one was clearly a fake. It had no ball joints in its arms or legs, had no lungs, and it had a fish's head.
Él les dijo que el cuerpo no tenía las articulaciones adecuadas, que tenía una cabeza de pescado y que era realmente a simple vista y análisis un fraude.
The small one had 3 fingers and 3 toes, but the bones looked like bird bones.
El más pequeño tenía 3 dedos en la mano y pies, pero que los huesos que tenía se parecían a los de un ave.
They put that one away and brought out the next box out of a cupboard, which was some large hands, 3 large, long hands with 3 fingers, very long fingers.
Dice que retiraron esos cuerpos que le mostraron y trajeron otra caja con 3 manos que eran tridáctilas de dedos muy largos.
One of the hands had already had some parts taken from it for analysis, and another hand had a metal disc on top of its palm, and they told me that it might likely be gold and that no samples had been taken of the metal.
Le dijeron, él pudo ver una mano que ya se le había sacado muestras y la otra mano que él vio tenía un disco de metal un poco dorado y le dijeron que eso era muy posible oro que todavía no había sido analizado.
I looked at the x-rays of the hands and I was suspicious. Some of the bones didn't look correct.
Él vio los rayos X de las manos y comenzó a tener dudas porque la posición de los huesos no se veían correctamente en un sitio, en una posición normal.
We were then shown very small skulls, about 70 millimeters in diameter, and they had elongated head, large eyes, and a little slit for a mouth.
Dice que le mostraron cráneos sueltos de 70 milímetros de diámetro y que tenían una cabeza larga con ojos en forma de ranuras muy angostas y una pequeña boca.
All the things we were being shown were covered in a white powder that we did not know what it was at that time.
Todas estas piezas estaban cubiertas en un polvo blanco que en ese momento ellos no sabían de qué se trataba el polvo blanco.
Now, the small skulls were made of bone and flesh, and they rattled a little, so they may have been brains or part of the brain in there.
Que los cráneos que les dieron hacían sonido y que él piensa que en el interior había estaba el cerebro seco.
Looking at the x-rays of the small skulls, you could clearly see on the x-ray that there had been packing. Something had been put in and filled.
Packing?
Packing, padding, some type of material was in there and pasted over with pasted over, yeah.
Él vio los rayos X de estos cráneos y se dio cuenta también que habían un tipo de sustancia o de recubrimiento que para poder ponerle una capa al cráneo que parecía la piel, pero él se dio cuenta que eso no era piel. Okay.
There were 2 or 3 small skulls, and none of them showed any nasal passages or any jaw bones.
Habían otros 3 cráneos, los cuales no mostraban pasajes nasales y ni tampoco quijadas.
Also, the eyes were packed, and I was very suspicious.
Y al mismo tiempo los ojos, los párpados, estaban como así también con esta sustancia, con esta capa, y para ellos esto era muy dudoso.
The next items to be shown were small bodies, 29 inches in length, and these had the skulls already on them except for one.
Después le mostraron unos otros cuerpos, 20 inches, ¿ah?
About 29.
De unos cuerpos de 29 pulgadas de largo y que de estos cuerpos uno no tenía cabeza.
The first body we were told was a male.
El primer cuerpo le dijeron que era un macho.
And could stretch its neck up and down, we were told.
Y que podía estirar su cuello hacia arriba y hacia abajo, like E.T. Outrageous.
And then there was there was a metal plate, small metal plate on its chest, which was metal, and we did not know what that was.
Y en uno de estos cuerpos había una placa de metal que estaba en el pecho de uno de estos pequeños y que ellos no sabían de qué era.
Now looking at that X-ray showed that this creature, if it was ever alive, did not have any ball joints in its arms or legs, and in fact it had no lungs, no nasal passage, no jawbone, and it would not have been able to move.
Dice que vieron los cuerpos de nuevo y que otro cuerpo no tenía los pasajes nasales, no tenía mandíbula, no tenía articulaciones adecuadas y tampoco pulmones, que significa que no podría haber vivido ni tampoco moverse.
The second body, which was complete, looked very similar to the first one. However, we were told this was a female.
Muy similar al primero, pero que a pesar de esto, les dijeron que era una hembra.
It showed on the X-ray she had a swollen abdomen, a stomach, swollen stomach.
Dice que tenía un estómago un poco abultado. Y en los rayos X,
yes, it had a swollen stomach. And on the X-ray, they told me that you could see 3 eggs inside her.
Y que en los rayos X se podían ver 3 huevos dentro en su estómago.
There was no sign of any sexual organs. It was a mystery how the eggs got in there.
Dice él que no había ningún signo de órganos sexuales ni de cloaca. You mean cloaca, don't you? Y que por eso él dice él no se podía explicar cómo entraron esos huevos ahí.
On the X-ray, it showed 3 items in the stomach area, but I did not identify them as eggs. They didn't look like eggs.
En los rayos X que él vio 3 objetos que él no pudo y no podría identificar como huevos, porque no se veían como huevos.
Yeah, they could have been stones or sweets, but they were all 3 different sizes, and they were not see-through. Most X-rays that show reptile eggs are of the same size and are see-through to some degree.
And that is of the same shape.
Most reptiles have them the same shape, but this wasn't. They were different shape, different size, different shape, and you could not see through them at all.
Okay. Él dice de que estos pseudo huevos no se podían ver que fuesen transparentes, que él pensaba que eran o piedras o algún tipo de caramelo o algún tipo de objeto redondo que dice que él piensa que podrían haberle metido como caramelos, pero que en realidad era raro porque los reptiles, sus huevos en un rayos X se ven transparentes y aparte eso todos los huevos son iguales. That what I just said is the same as you, but I always said in a mummy you don't find the eggs in this form because they will be like crushed. So that's a hoax. Yeah.
It's a hoax. Yes. The X-ray showed even different bones in the arms, a different type of bone in one arm to the other.
Y los rayos X también mostraban diferentes huesos en un mismo cuerpo. El lado izquierdo no estaba igual que el lado derecho en cuanto a huesos.
These bodies are also covered in a white powder and had 3 fingers and 3 toes.
Estos cuerpos también estaban cubiertos en polvo blanco y tenían 3 dedos en la mano y 3 dedos en los pies.
They're given them names to identify them.
Y les dieron nombres para identificarlos.
They later showed us, after that, they brought out the 3rd body, which was a body which was in a sitting position with no head.
Y después les trajeron otro cuerpo que estaba en una posición de sentado y sin cabeza.
They showed us the neck muscles and ligaments, and they did look like ligaments and muscles, but we believe they were utilizing animal material.
Y aquí sí se pudo ver un poco de músculos. You saw muscles and ligaments, y ligamentos. Y aquí él sí pudo pensar que sí se estaban usando ligamentos y músculos de animales.
On the back, we were shown a piece of the skin on the back, and they said that it looked reptilian.
Y vieron también que en la parte de la espalda se podía ver una piel que según ellos era reptiliano.
This was not reptilian skin. What this was animal fur that thousands of years old that had lost its hair and left the cuticle marks, much like looking at the skin of a chicken.
Lo que él dice, y que yo también concuerdo, es que no se trataba de piel de reptil, que no era por ningún motivo piel de reptil, sino más bien era piel de un mamífero que perdió su pelo y que mostraba las entradas de los pelos que se notan en una piel antigua. Y también pueden ver ustedes cuando ustedes trabajan con un tambor o otro tipo de pieles. Esto era para él la explicación y no un reptil.
We were then showed some small carved stones in the shape of the face of an aliens and shape of UFOs.
Le mostraron también piedras talladas con cara de un alienígena y también con formas de ovnis, de platillos voladores.
Again, these had this white powder on them.
Y de nuevo, estas piezas tenían también polvo blanco.
We were then shown a small body. This was, in fact, a small child. I identified this as a real child corpse.
Y también le mostraron un cuerpo de un niño. You mean guaguita, Pastor.
Wawita.
Y le mostraron guaguita y que él pudo identificar que esto se trataba de un niño, de la momia de un niño, del cuerpo de la momia de un niño.
Wawita had no ears and 3 fingers and 3 toes and was covered in the white powder.
Que no tenía orejas, que tenía 3 dedos en la mano y en los pies y que estaba cubierta con este polvo blanco.
And Wawita was falling apart. They were very careful. She was degradation that set in.
La momia de este niño, que le llamaron guaguita, estaba en un estado muy malo, que se estaba destrozando y que tenían que moverlo con mucho cuidado.
The X-ray of Wawita showed that she was, in fact, an infant child and probably around about the ages of 3 to 4 years of age due to the amount of teeth that she had in her mouth.
Y de acuerdo a los dientes que ella presentaba en la boca, por medio de los rayos X, pudieron ellos estimar que esta momia de este niño tenía entre 3 a 4 años de edad.
We could clearly see from close photography and analysis that Wawita's toes, 2 of them had been removed.
El análisis que hicieron ellos pudieron constatar y certificar que 2 de los dedos fueron removidos del pie. From hand and foot, you mean? From both?
Yeah. Cut off from the foot, yes.
From the foot and the hand also?
The hand and the feet, yes.
O sea que ellos pudieron constatar que tanto en mano como en pies, 2 dedos fueron extraídos, fueron quitados.
They then brought out Maria, which was the last thing to see. She was a full-sized adult female corpse.
Y de ahí trajeron posteriormente a María, que era el cuerpo momificado de era el cuerpo momificado femenino.
This was the most significant thing to show us, which was in fact a female due to the amount of ribs she had.
What?
Ribs. Females have less ribs.
Okay, great. Y esto pudieron constatar que era femenino el cuerpo porque las hembras o las mujeres tienen menos costillas que los varones.
Maria was in a position, stereotypical position you would normally find Peruvian corpses in a sitting position with the arms wrapped around her legs.
Y María estaba, se mostraba en una posición típica en cómo se encuentran momias de sitios arqueológicos de civilizaciones o culturas pre-incas.
She had an elongated skull,
Tenía un cráneo alargado,
was covered heavily in white powder.
estaba cubierto fuertemente, profusamente con este polvo blanco.
Her ears had been removed, only showing the ear hole.
Sus oídos o sus orejas habían sido removidas, solamente mostrando un hueco.
Her eyes were larger, but had been packed.
Los ojos eran más grandes, pero habían sido como, le habían puesto una capa más.
Small nose and small mouth, and 3 fingers and 3 toes.
Una pequeña mano, boca, una pequeña nariz y, como siempre, 3 dedos en las manos y en los pies.
The fingers and toes were very long. They told us that there were 6 phalanges instead of the normal 3 phalanges that you would have in a human finger.
Le dijeron a Steven Mera que este ejemplar tenía 6 falanges en vez de las 3 falanges que normalmente una mano tiene.
We looked at the x-rays and scans of Maria, and it confirmed that she was a real body.
Y de acuerdo a los escaneos y a los rayos X, se pudo constatar que en realidad María era un cuerpo real.
She was not a mummy, she was a body because she had her internal organs inside her.
No era una momia, sino que era un cuerpo. But we call a mummy also in this state, even though it was not processed.
Yeah, I know. I believe that there is some confusion over that. In the UK and the US, mummies are ones with the organs removed, and bodies are the ones with the organs intact.
Ok, yo le estaba diciendo a él, pero en realidad nosotros hemos escuchado que hay diferentes procesos de momificación, pero en Gran Bretaña y en Estados Unidos, las momias son aquellas que se les saca los órganos del cuerpo. Y María los tenía completos en su cuerpo, ¿ok?
The fingers did have nails. The toes had dermal ridging on them.
What? The toes had?
Dermal ridging, like fingerprints.
Ya que se podían ver uñas en las manos y que los dedos del pie se podían ver las huellas dactilares.
After us seeing Maria, all the other things didn't really matter.
Después de ver María, todas las otras cosas no interesaban.
We suspected at that time
Sospechamos en ese momento
that this was a real body that had been dug up and been altered by adding extra bones to the fingers and toes.
Y que según los análisis de ellos, que esto era un cuerpo que ha sido exhumado.
We
sospecharon que esto era a corpse that was exhumated, you mean?
Yes.
Que fue un cuerpo que ha sido exhumado y que ha sido alterado en las manos y pies y los oídos.
It looked like the ears had been removed and a lot of packing and white powder had been applied to that area, and her eyes may have been filed to make them larger.
Él dice que el packing que él habla es como que le pusieron unas capas de resina o alguna otra película que pueda mantener una consistencia dura para poder ocultar los verdaderos ojos y la extracción de la oreja, del pabellón auricular que debería tener el cuerpo, y que además le habían puesto mucho polvo blanco.
The examinations took around about 3 hours, and everything was video documented as well as photographed, and a written report confirming that all the X-rays were of those bodies.
El análisis que llevaron a cabo Steven Mera y su equipo duró más de 3 horas y ellos constataron que los rayos X que se le presentaron coincidían con el cuerpo de María.
We finished the examination and we left to travel back to the hotel.
Terminamos los análisis y examinaciones y nos dejaron irnos a nuestro hotel.
We asked about the location where this cave or tomb was in Nazca.
Ellos preguntaron dónde estaba la localidad donde encontraron esta tumba en Nazca.
Thierry Hammond had told us there was a very high magnetic anomaly there, which we knew that we could track using software.
Ellos preguntaron esto porque Thierry y Yamin les habían dicho a ellos de que había un campo electromagnético muy fuerte y que ellos hubieran constatado eso porque tenían el equipo y el software adecuado para poder constatar eso.
We were told if we were to go into the desert to look for this location, that we would be killed, we would be shot, and no one would ever find us.
Y les dijeron de que si ellos iban solos a esta localidad, los iban a matar, les iban a disparar y que nadie los iba a encontrar. Si iban.
The following day, we headed to Lima. We traveled back from Cusco to Lima to attend the first international press conference at a hotel.
Y al día siguiente viajaron a Lima para poder estar presentes en la exposición que se hizo en un hotel en Lima sobre las momias de Nazca.
The local government in Lima had not given mention about this event. They did not want people to know about it.
El gobierno local del Perú, de Lima, no había tomado en cuenta esta conferencia porque no quería realzar la conferencia. Do you know why?
They did not want the publicity.
El gobierno peruano, según Steven Mera, no quería darle la publicidad que el señor Maussan esperaba.
The government believed that these were fake and that the black market was involved, and they wanted to make sure that they called them fake so that they would not be sold and those items would stay in the country.
Y él dice de que el Estado peruano hizo esto porque ellos sabían que esto tenía relación con el mercado negro y que si es que ellos, o sea, el ministerio y el gobierno del Perú realzaba la conferencia o decía acerca de la conferencia, iba a propalar y a apoyar que se puedan vender estos cuerpos internacionalmente. Y por eso el gobierno peruano no hizo esto.
We met up with Jaime Maussan and his doctors at the hotel in Lima, who was also conducting their investigation.
Ellos se entrevistaron con Jaime Maussan y sus investigadores que también estaban conduciendo investigaciones en Lima.
Jaime Maussan doctors said that they believed that they were very unusual and might be ETs.
Los doctores o los investigadores de Jaime Maussan dijeron que todos estos cuerpos eran muy raros y que era probable que sean extraterrestres.
But they did not have any DNA evidence at that time.
Pero a pesar de esto, ellos no tenían evidencia de DNA en ese momento.
Thierry Hammond did not attend the press announcement because he had a fallout with Jaime Maussan.
He fought with Jaime Maussan, you mean?
Yes, he had a fallout with Jaime Maussan and he didn't attend.
Thierry Yamin no atendió o no fue a esta conferencia de prensa porque había tenido problemas con Jaime Maussan.
Thierry told us that Jaime Maussan was supposed to book them in at the same hotel, but he didn't. He booked them in at a very cheap hotel a couple of miles away, and he would not allow them to show their material at the press announcement, only Jaime's.
Can you say that again, please?
Thierry Hamming told us that Jaime Maussan was supposed to book their room in at that hotel where the press announcement was taking place, and he didn't.
Jaime Maussan debería haber hecho una reservación en el hotel donde hicieron la conferencia, pero no lo hicieron.
He was booked in at a cheap hotel a couple of miles away.
Se fueron a un hotel barato a unos cuantos kilómetros de distancia de este sitio.
Thierry Hamming was also upset with Jaime Maussan because Jaime would not allow him to show Inkari information, only Jaime Maussan's information.
Jaime Maussan no quería que la información que tenía Inkari fuese mostrada en esta conferencia, solamente la información de Jaime Maussan.
Whilst we were there, I interviewed Jaime Maussan and the two doctors, Benitez, Dr. Benitez, Jesus.
No. You mean Salces and José de la Cruz.
Yes, we interviewed both them and Jaime Maussan.
Steve Mera dice que él se entrevistó con Jaime Maussan y con el señor José de la Cruz Ríos López y con el señor Salces.
Jaime Maussan told us that he had approached the ministry, but they did not want to talk with him.
Jaime Maussan dice que él se acercó al ministerio, pero que no querían hablar con él. But he just went there on a papers. That's not the way. That's a lie. Y esto es una mentira, señores, porque Maussan le cuenta al señor Mera de que él había ido al ministerio a hablar con ellos y que no querían hablar con ellos. Miren lo que dice. Y yo le estoy contando al señor Mera que en realidad el señor Maussan no presentó los papeles. Es el colmo, ¿ok?
When we interviewed the doctors, both the doctors were saying the same thing, that they believed that these might be real living creatures and were ET.
Y cuando ellos entrevistaron al señor Salces y al señor José de la Cruz Ríos López, ambos decían las mismas cosas y que ellos sospechaban que estos eran entidades vivientes o que vivieron y que posiblemente eran extraterrestres.
What the doctors didn't know is that we knew that these doctors had been involved with Jaime before in the Roswell slide fiasco of a number of years ago, which was also fake.
Lo que estos doctores no sabían es que Steven Mera y su equipo sabían de todo el fraude que habían estos señores hecho hace tiempo en un fraude con el Roswell. You mean the big witness thing?
There was the Roswell slides incident a number of years ago. Jaime Maussan used the same doctors and they confirmed that this was ET, when in fact it was just a mummified small child.
Yeah. We call that the big witness issue. Lo que está hablando el señor Mera es de que él sabe de que estos señores se vieron implicados en el fraude de Big Witness con fotos de un posible extraterrestre que solamente era un indígena norteamericano, un niño indígena norteamericano, nada más.
These doctors that Jaime Maussan uses were not qualified to talk about the bones. What they do is say, I am a doctor and you must believe me.
Lo que ellos dicen es que estos doctores que el señor Maussan utiliza no tienen la experiencia ni tampoco la especialidad, pero que estos señores dicen, yo soy un doctor y tú tienes que creerme. But the thing is also that José de la Cruz Ríos López is not in the capacity to talk about reptilians because he works with algae. That's stupid.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Lo que le estoy diciendo al señor Steven Mera es que José de la Cruz Ríos López, por ejemplo, dice ser biólogo, pero él trabaja en algas que tienen que ver con reptiles y anfibios. But the thing is, they call themselves doctors when they don't have the degree.
That's correct, yes, and they're not being truthful.
They are not being true?
No, they're telling lies.
¿Ya? Y para Steven Mera están mintiendo estos señores y que en realidad no son doctores y no son especialistas.
After we interviewed them, we headed back home the following day to get out of Peru as fast as we can.
Después que ellos lo entrevistaron al señor José de la Cruz Rigo López y a Salces, ellos tomaron el primer vuelo para poder salir del Perú lo más rápido posible. Why?
Now, why? Because we couldn't trust anybody. We didn't know who to trust. Everyone was lying and trying to convince the public that these were ETs when in fact they weren't.
Y ellos quisieron irse rápido, lo más rápido posible, porque estos señores no eran especialistas, todo el mundo mentía y que lo único que ellos vieron es que estos señores estaban tratando de convencer a todo el mundo de que estos cuerpos eran de extraterrestres.
Now, there have been a few doctors that have been involved in this investigation from Gaia TV, from Jaime Maussan, and from the Inkari Institute, all of which were saying some profound things which didn't make any sense. So we could not trust any of those reports or the doctors, so we decided to use our own.
Dice que los doctores de Inkari, los doctores de Gaia y los doctores del señor Maussan decían muchas cosas que no tenían sentido y que por eso Steven Mera buscó sus propios doctores especialistas.
Our doctors and professors were from Gene Tech Laboratory in Sri Lanka. They are award-winning for their work worldwide, and they train CSI police officers.
Y dice que él consultó a profesores y expertos de Sri Lanka que son conocidos internacionalmente, que entrenan a policías CSI. What is that?
Crime scene investigation.
A policías que tienen que ver con investigaciones en escenas de crimen. Okay.
We went to the best we could because we needed to make sure that our doctors are academic, checkable, and authentic.
Ellos buscaron los mejores porque querían con esto saber y constatar que esta gente tenía el currículum adecuado y constatable para poder analizar estos cuerpos.
When we showed our doctors the scans and x-rays which had been provided to us from the Inkari Institute, they were very interested in Maria.
Cuando el señor Mera le mostró a estos profesores y especialistas de Sri Lanka los rayos X y las tomografías que les proveyó Inkari a Steven Mera, estuvieron muy interesados en María. Why interested in Maria?
Because they couldn't understand how she would have 3 fingers and 3 toes just looking at the x-rays. They were also very suspicious and wanted to confirm if she was real or not.
Y porque les pareció muy raro y interesante porque no podían estos especialistas entender cómo podría tener la momia María 3 dedos y 3 dedos en los pies y 3 dedos en las manos, y por eso que tenían muchas sospechas los especialistas.
A second trip to Peru was carried out to obtain DNA samples.
Un segundo viaje se realizó para poder colectar muestras para el DNA. You collected DNA samples?
Our professors and doctors talked with the doctors in Peru and told them how to take the samples and where to take the samples from.
Which doctors from Peru?
The 2 doctors that we mentioned earlier, Jaime's doctors.
Oh, los profesionales expertos de Sri Lanka llamaron a los expertos, entre comillas, de Maussan, o sea, el señor Salcer y el señor José de la Cruz Rigo López, indicándoles de dónde tenían que sacar las muestras para que el señor Steven Mera se lleve estas muestras para hacer los trabajos de ADN. And what happened?
We traveled to Peru, and the DNA was taken, all video documented, photographed, making sure no contamination and that they took the samples properly, and a full chain of custody was recorded.
Ellos viajaron a Perú, constataron por medio de video de que las muestras fueron sacadas de la mejor forma, y que esas muestras no fuesen cambiadas ni alteradas para poder hacer los análisis. You mean they took the samples from the right places as told from the people from Sri Lanka?
Correct.
That means teeth and spinal cord?
They took the samples mostly from the fingers and the feet, because nobody was taking samples from there, and that was the most important thing, to find out if those feet and those toes and those fingers belong to that body.
Okay, dice de que se tomaron las muestras de los pies y de los dedos de las manos porque querían saber si estos correspondían correspondían al cuerpo de la momia. Okay?
At this time, we were sharing information with the government, with the Mera of Nazca, and we were also pushing for the release of these bodies to the government and the preservation and these crimes to be stopped.
Y así ellos también comenzaron a poner un poco de presión para que los cuerpos fueran dados al gobierno y así se pare todo este mercado negro que hay.
The samples were mailed specifically directly to the laboratory in Sri Lanka for analysis.
Las muestras fueron enviadas correctamente al laboratorio en Sri Lanka. Do you know that this reporter from Peru doesn't talk anymore about Sri Lanka? And you're going to say now why? Do you know lo que le estoy diciendo a Steven Mera es que Joyce Mantilla no habla más de Sri Lanka y ahorita el señor Steven Mera va a decir por qué. Okay?
Yes, we're aware that he took down his own postings because we instructed our doctors and professors not to talk to people who ring up asking information, that to send them to us. And of course, people did, including probably a number of other people who are friends with Thierry. And they tried to tell people that it was a lie, that we did not have this work done by Gene Tech Laboratories, and they were all wrong.
Lo que estaba haciendo Steven Mera es que le pidió a los profesores y a los doctores de Sri Lanka que no le dieran información a nadie más que a ellos, a Steven Mera y su equipo. Pero a pesar de eso, gente de Thierry Yamin y otra gente llamaron para poder decirles que Steven Mera no había sacado las muestras y no había mandado las muestras a Gene Tech. You mean someone that didn't identify itself was calling to your people, to your professors and specialists to tell them that you got no samples at all?
Yeah, they were trying to say that I was lying, that we did not have professors and doctors in Sri Lanka, but that wasn't true. We have a full report, and we've shared a lot of that report over the internet, showing the results of that analysis.
Bueno, hubo mucha gente que comenzó a llamar y a decir que Steven Mera estaba mintiendo, que él no tenía ningún especialista, pero que en realidad sí, y que obtuvieron los resultados y lo pusieron en el internet. Okay? And what did you found? What the specialist found?
Right, well, we headed back to home and we had to wait a long time for analysis to take place because it takes a long time. But what they found was in Mera, where the sample was taken from the toes and the foot, that there was a mutation.
Lo que dice que ellos regresaron a Inglaterra y que se fueron a Inglaterra de vuelta y esperaron por los resultados de los análisis y que lo que encontraron es que in the toes they found a mutation.
Yes.
A mutation from what? What type of mutation? That I don't want to say this.
Yes, it was an unidentified mutation. We could not work out how or why this mutation was taking place in Maria.
Lo que encontraron es que en los pies, in the toes they found the mutation, right?
Correct.
Que encontraron en los dedos del pie de María una mutación, pero que ellos no saben qué tipo de mutación es esta o de dónde viene. What does that mean then?
Well, I can tell you what that means. We traveled to California and exclusively taught at Contact in the Desert to share this information.
You contacted in the desert what?
We went to a conference in California,
Yeah.
which is called, the conference is called Contact in the Desert.
Okay.
And we shared our information.
Okay, y entonces Steven Mera se fue a California a una conferencia en donde ellos compartieron su información para poder encontrar una respuesta a esto, ¿ok?
We were approached by Gaia TV at that time.
Y la gente de Gaia TV se acercó a ellos, ¿ya?
We informed Gaia TV that this was a fake and that they needed to be very careful about how they proceed.
Y Steven Mera y su equipo les dijeron a Gaia que esto era un fraude y que tenían que tener cuidado en la forma como ellos iban a seguir continuando con todo esto.
We told the public that this mutation, we did not know what it was. But we also told them that everything else was fake, including that Wawita, who had been manipulated with toes cut off.
Ellos dijeron de que, aparte de María, todo lo demás era un fraude, pero que los dedos del pie de María era una mutación que no sabían de qué era.
We later learned when we came back to the UK that a number of other doctors were involved.
Ellos se enteraron después que una gran cantidad de doctores estaban implicados o estaban interesados en este caso.
The doctor that is seen on Gaia TV shows about the Nazca mummies, Dr. Korektov from Russia, does not have a checkable background, nor is he qualified.
El doctor que tomó Gaia, que es el doctor Korokov, no tiene documentos que certifiquen ni califiquen a esta persona para poder analizar la momia de Nazca, ¿ya?
Dr. Korektov had sent all the information, the scans and the x-rays and photos and videos to professors and doctors in Russia.
El doctor Korokov, que no tiene un currículum que se pueda identificar como un especialista en esto, había enviado toda la documentación, toda la información a doctores especialistas en Rusia.
Dr. Korektov was asking for help, and in a letter to them he stated he was not an expert and needed some assistance.
Y el doctor Korokov estaba pidiendo ayuda a estos expertos porque en la carta él escribe exactamente que él no era un experto y que por eso necesitaba la ayuda de esta gente especializada.
These doctors were the head of the paleontology unit at Moscow State University and were anthropologists as well.
En la Universidad de Rusia hay especialistas, antropólogos que analizaron esto.
They confirmed very quickly that the bodies, the small bodies, were all manufactured with different parts of animal bones, human adult bones, and human infant bones.
Y constataron rápidamente que todos los cuerpos pequeños habían sido armados con huesos de niños, de adultos humanos y también de animales.
They wrote back to Dr. Korektov with this information. Dr. Korektov ignored them and stopped communicating with them.
Y le mandaron la información al señor Korokov, el cual dejó de comunicarse con estos especialistas y no dijo nada más.
They found this very suspicious, so they put their report up on their website in Russian.
Y estos especialistas rusos se sorprendieron y entraron en sospechas y publicaron todo lo que encontraron del análisis en la página web de la universidad en Rusia.
Because it was in Russian, people didn't find it. Eventually, we found it. We interviewed those doctors on camera, and they told us the story of what had happened.
Y como todo esto estaba escrito en ruso, nadie entendía y no se enteraron, pero ellos, o sea, el equipo de Steve Mera, los encontró, los entrevistó en cámara y les contaron estos especialistas toda la historia de lo que pasó.
There was also doctors and professors of anthropology from the university in Paris that had done a television show telling people that they had analysed the x-rays and scans and had also come to the same decision that these were all fake and manufactured through animal and human bones.
Y también hay un programa en donde salen varios especialistas franceses en donde concuerdan con los rusos que los cuerpos están armados y que es un conglomerado de diferentes huesos de animales y seres humanos adultos y pequeños. But the thing is that the interesting thing is that they found in the bones of Maria a mutation. That's something strange.
Well, no, because I'll tell you the reasons why there was a mutation. Where the samples were taken from on the toes and the foot of Maria, that what happened is within one sample of DNA, there were two different types of human bones. What somebody has done, which is terrible, is added extra human bones from another human to her foot to make the toes longer. And the sample got contaminated with two different human bones, showing a mutation.
Okay. Lo que dice el señor Mera, porque yo le acabo de preguntar, pero lo que está increíble es que el pie de María había mostrado una mutación, pero él dice, no, lo que pasa es que cuando se han sacado las muestras, los especialistas han podido encontrar que de los dedos que se sacaron, ellos constataron que eran de dos huesos de dos individuos diferentes humanos y que esa combinación que hicieron produjo esta mutación o esta pseudomutación, ¿ok?
What many people were saying is there professional and academic evidence to suggest Maria is also been manufactured or altered.
You mean there was questions of it was altered?
Yes, Maria.
Y la gente se estaba preguntando si es que María hubiese sido alterada o manipulada, ¿ok?
Yes. Dr. Rodolfo Salas Gizmodi, PhD, is a member of the Vertebrate Paleontology Department at the Natural History Museum in Lima, and he helped.
Bueno, ustedes ya conocen las declaraciones del señor Rodolfo Salas Gizmondi, paleontólogo, y que él dio también su declaración experta en cuanto al armado de la momia María.
He also looked over all the information and concluded the modifications to the hands and feet of the mummy Maria were also made of archaeological material which shows a systematic destruction of patrimonial remains in the Nazca area.
Y lo que concluyó el señor Gizmondi, doctor, es que esto ha sido un armado en la momia María, lo que significa también la destrucción de patrimonio peruano arqueológico.
We decided to release this information, and we had a phone call from Jaime Masan, and he was screaming and shouting down the phone.
To whom?
To our team.
Oh, shit. Ok. Lo que dice el señor Mera es que ellos recibieron después una llamada del señor Jaime Maussan gritando y vociferando a todo el equipo del señor Steve Mera. He was mad, or what?
He was mad. He said that we must stop what we are doing. We are going to ruin his career, and that not to put our information out.
Y él en los gritos que mandaba el señor Maussan, le decía al señor Mera y al equipo que ellos tenían que parar todo eso porque iban a destrozar la carrera del señor Maussan. I send my greetings to Mr. Maussan in this hour. Mr. Maussan, we are very happy to hear you, or to hear from you, and we would like to hear your yelling and.
We told him that it was our investigation and we are going to go ahead and put out the truth. And we've not heard from him since. In fact, Mr. Maussan has been very quiet since.
Y desde que el señor Maussan llamó, Steve Mera dice que le dijo que esta era su investigación de ellos también y que ellos iban a seguir con esta investigación y seguir desmintiendo todo este fraude, y desde este momento el señor Maussan se quedó callado y no ha vuelto a dar declaraciones.
We believe Jaime Maussan has a number of conferences to conduct and around the world telling people that these bodies are ETs and people are going to pay to hear that information.
Lo que ellos creen es que el señor Maussan tiene todavía muchas conferencias y que él está queriendo hacer estas conferencias para contarle a todo el mundo que estas momias son extraterrestres y que mediante estas conferencias él va a cobrar a la gente que venga.
There are two serious crimes being committed here.
Hay dos crímenes muy serios que se están cometiendo en este fraude.
The first is to desecrate or explore or excavate or remove archaeological findings from Peru can send you to prison for 3 to 8 years.
El primero es excavar o las acciones de guaquería, que es exhumar cuerpos, sacar restos arqueológicos, destrozar patrimonio arqueológico de Perú, que te puede mandar a la cárcel de 3 a 8 años.
And the reason why we warned Gaia TV whilst we were in California is because of the second thing.
Y el por qué ellos cuando fueron a California y se encontraron con Gaia, ellos le dijeron a Gaia que tengan cuidado, o sea, le advirtieron a Gaia, es por esta segunda razón que va a decir el señor Mera.
The second crime is those who promote, encourage grave looting and organize fund groups of people could also be a penalty to 3 to 8 years imprisonment.
Y la segunda razón muy fuerte es aquellos que promocionan, apoyan, incentivan las actividades del guaquerismo, que también podrían dar como pena de 3 a 8 años de cárcel.
Also, the fine of $1 million US.
Más la multa de millones de dólares.
We also talked with another person who was involved with the grave robbers called Clarix, or Paul Ronceros is his real name.
Ellos también se contactaron con otra persona que está también implicada, que se llama el señor Kravix o Paul Ronceros.
He was the first person on YouTube to show these mysterious findings.
Again?
He was the first person to show these mysterious findings on YouTube.
Kravitz fue el primero que dio a conocer todos estos hallazgos en YouTube y en la televisión.
At first he was hiding his identity. However, as time's gone on, he does not hide his identity anymore. He's known as Paul Ronceros.
Y después él se mostró abiertamente con su identidad de Paul Ronceros.
Now, Paul Ronceros has had a fallout with the other grave robbers, and he's now saying that they are fake and that the small skulls are from animals, which we confirmed by talking to our archaeologist in the UK.
y parece que Paul Ronceros, esto es una historia que ya conocemos, se peleó con los guateros que están implicados y así Paul Ronceros comenzó a decir que esto era un fraude o que eran armados, y esto fue confirmado por Steven Mera, que tiene sus especialistas en Gran Bretaña, en Inglaterra.
Once we put all our information out on the internet and in a video documentary part 1 and part 2, we came under attack by Thierry Hamming and his associates.
Debido a que el señor Mera publicó 2 videos acerca de este fraude, se vieron ellos afectados y atacados por Thierry Hamming y sus socios.
They were trying to discredit our work and our findings.
Trataron de desacreditar su trabajo y sus hallazgos que hizo el señor Mera.
They are set to continue and to tell the world that these are ETs and make a lot of money from it.
Ellos van a seguir tratando de decir al mundo entero de que todo esto son extraterrestres y así con esto ganar dinero cuanto puedan.
In a recent video Thierry Hamming put out on the internet on YouTube, he claims he's talking with a doctor from GeneTech Laboratories. But we do not know who this doctor is. We don't believe it's true.
Y en un video Thierry Hamming supuestamente habla con un doctor de GeneTech, pero ellos Steven Mera conoce a la gente de GeneTech y ellos no pueden identificar quién es este doctor de este GeneTech porque no lo conocen.
What we've found out is something very disturbing from our team of people that have been helping us in Peru.
Lo que es algo muy raro y un poco peligroso, dice, es que de nuestro equipo de personas en Perú,
there seems to be some type of factory in Palpa where these items and parts of bodies are collected and taken to manufacture these ETs.
Dicen que estas personas tienen información de que en Palpa hay un sitio donde los arman y que los preparan para poder hacer los cuerpos de estos tridáctilos.
Some of these items include a second body like Maria, said to be a male, and we are told that it is not ready to be displayed to the world yet.
Lo que también les ha llegado información es que hay un segundo cuerpo del tamaño de María, pero este sería un hombre y que todavía no está listo para poder ser mostrado al mundo, porque todavía está en preparación. You mean it's on preparation still?
Yes, it's still being created.
Él dice de que, según los informes, es que están preparando todavía un cuerpo y que todavía no lo sacan porque está todavía en proceso. Okay.
We had some excellent help from a number of researchers in Peru. One is Anthony Choi.
Ellos tienen varios apoyos de varios investigadores del Perú. Uno de ellos es Anthony Choi.
Also, Eduardo Poleski, who runs a YouTube channel called ET Disclosure. He is actually Argentinian.
También de un argentino que tiene un programa de YouTube, ET Disclosure se llama, ¿ya?
And Giacomo Longato is also been assisting with the investigation of these mummies in Peru.
Giacomo, you mean?
Giacomo Longato.
Giacomo Longato se llama el señor que también está ayudando en Perú con la investigación.
And most of the help is also come from a gentleman called Luca McLovin. And he interviewed one of the grave robbers that told him that they get paid very little to go and collect body parts and animal parts, skin, bones, nerves, hearts and brains.
Y Luca McLovin es otro que está cooperando y que ha podido conseguir un video en donde una persona dice que a él le pagan muy poco para que consiga todos los órganos y las cosas para poder armar las momias.
He explained how the bodies are dug up and placed in water tanks to make them supple enough to move, and then they alter them and then dip them in diatomaceous earth, which is the white powder.
Y así el proceso implica meter a los cuerpos de los tejidos en líquidos para después poder armarlos y poderlos cubrir con este polvo de diatomea.
We are trying our best at this time to reveal all information to the Peruvian government so that they will act officially on these crimes.
Lo que están tratando de hacer el señor Steven Mera es también proveer toda la información posible para dársela al Ministerio del Perú, al Ministerio de Cultura, para que ellos tomen acciones contra estos crímenes. And I hope they incarcerate Maussan.
Yes, Jaime Maussan, yes, he's continuing. I believe he will continue to do conferences and try and promote the ETs.
Él lo que piensa es que Jaime Maussan va a seguir promoviendo y haciendo sus conferencias sobre esto de las momias de Nazca, que según ellos son extraterrestres.
We believe the bodies or mummies are held at the Nazca Institute, but not in the Institute building. They have a second building next door, which they can access by a locked gate, and they are situated on the second floor of that building.
You mean in Nazca? That's not from Inkari, is it?
If you were to travel to the Inkari Institute, they have a main locked gate at the entrance. If you were to open that gate and travel down and take a left, you'd come to Inkari Institute. If you take a right, you'll come across another locked gate. If you open that gate, you'll come to a second building, which they own, and they have the bodies on the second floor upstairs inside cupboards.
In Cusco, you mean?
In Cusco.
El señor Steven Mera dice de que él está seguro que los cuerpos están en Inkari, en el Cusco, pero para poder encontrar los cuerpos hay una puerta que hay que abrir, que se tiene que abrir, y que cuando uno entra a la mano izquierda uno va al centro de Inkari, pero a la mano derecha hay otro portón de metal que tiene que abrirse para poder entrar a otro local, y en el segundo piso están las momias.
I understand there is a considerable amount of poverty in Peru, and people will do anything to feed their families.
Él sabe de que en Perú hay una gran cantidad de pobreza y que la gente está tratando de sustentar y sostener a sus familias.
However, these are terrible acts, digging up ancestors and chopping them up and adding things to them and changing and manipulating them to make them look like ETs. These types of crimes are the worst, and we believe that they've got to end as quickly as possible.
Y el señor Mera cree que a pesar de que hay gente pobre y que se necesita ganar dinero, que no tiene justificación de que a las momias, que son nuestros ancestros, se les mutile, se les saque, se les exhume, se haga trabajo de vocarismo para poder venir con un fraude de que son extraterrestres. Y que eso debe pararse.
This investigation has been the hardest one we've ever done in 34 years, and it has been upsetting. There's been a couple of times when we've been reduced to tears simply because we know that infants are being dug up and manipulated as well as adults, and these terrible acts are simply just so people can make money. The black market, it does exist and is very powerful.
El señor Mera dice que esto es el trabajo más difícil que les ha tocado en 34 años de trabajo, y que ellos estaban casi también hasta las lágrimas de ver que niños, infantes momificados, fueron manipulados, exhumados, cambiados, mutilados, y que él piensa que esto debe pararse, que ya no debe haber esto. We are in
touch with the ministry. We've interviewed a person who works at the ministry, and they confirmed that it's too difficult for the country to manage the problem in regarding the digging up of ancestors and those being sold on the black market, sometimes for millions of dollars.
Y dice que ellos han entrevistado a la gente del Ministerio de Cultura, pero dicen que esto es muy difícil porque, bueno, yo le he dicho también que por todos lados hay cuerpos y se puede exhumar por todos lados cosas arqueológicas y que esto del comercio ilegal y del mercado negro es un tanto problemático por la cantidad que hay, ¿no? Yeah.
We believe that it's going to be very difficult to stop it. However, what we tend to do and trying to do is to make sure that the people are being told the truth and are not having to pay lots of money to hear lies.
Y que ellos saben que esto es es una tarea muy difícil de hacer para parar el mercado negro, pero al menos lo que se trata de hacer, como también el Ayu Viracocha, es de informar a la gente para que esté consciente de lo que está pasando y que no pague para escuchar mentiras.
We had some excellent help from a translator as well that joined us on our investigations, which we could not have done it without her help. Things were very difficult and we were being watched and it was not safe for us to continue the investigation in Peru.
Dice que ellos tuvieron el apoyo de una traductora que sin ella no podrían haber hecho todo lo que han hecho, porque al mismo tiempo ellos vieron que habían estado siendo, los habían estado siguiendo, los habían estado viendo lo que hacían, todos sus movimientos, y que, bueno, fue un problema, ¿no?
Myself and my colleague Barry Fitzgerald, who went to Peru, have released all our documentation, videos, and even lectures to let people know. We want to make sure that the Spanish community understand that these are fakes and serious crimes are being carried out.
El colega de él, que se llama Barry, ha sido el que ha estado difundiendo los videos, los documentos y todo lo que tiene Steven Mera en base a esta investigación para que todo esto sea parado y que el fraude no siga adelante.
We continue to talk with people in Peru, in France, in Russia, and yourself to try and put forward as much information as we possibly can to let the world know that this is and has been probably the greatest hoax of the 21st century, which is now we all know is fake.
Lo que hace Steven Mera y su equipo es contactarse y seguir contactándose con especialistas como los de Rusia, como los de Francia, con gente que sabe al respecto, como nosotros también el Ayu Viracocha, para poder decirle a todos que esto es un fraude, que esto es un armado, que esto es algo planeado para poder ganar dinero y que esto sería el fraude más grande del siglo XXI.
We continue to try and educate the public against information that is being put out against Gaia TV, from Jaime Maussan, and from Thierry Hamming and the Inkari Institute. And we will continue to do so until the truth is out there and everybody knows.
Y ellos continuarán trabajando, and we will do also. Ellos continúan trabajando para poder decirle a todo el mundo el fraude que hace Gaia, Thierry Hamming y Jaime Maussan a nivel mundial. Y que eso, que Steven Mera y toda la gente que está trabajando con él, y nos incluimos aquí los del Ayu Viracocha, van a seguir trabajando para evitar estos fraudes.
The videos are available, our videos for the two documentaries are up on YouTube and can be found with the name The Mysterious Bodies of Peru, or in the links of information that I've sent to you, Viracocha.
Y la información que ustedes han escuchado de Steven Mera la pueden encontrar en las momias de Nazca Mummies of Peru, you said?
Yes, The Mysterious Bodies of Peru.
In English, is it?
Yeah, it could be. It's in English, but we do have also subtitles across them. Nazca Three-Fingered Mummy and The Mysterious Bodies of Peru.
Los dos videos se llaman los cuerpos misteriosos de Nazca, pero está en inglés, Mysterious Nazca Bodies, y el otro es the Three-Fingered Nazca Mummies.
Yes, and please feel free to share the information that we've sent over to you today in regards to all photographs and the information we also sent in Spanish for the Spanish community to read and see the photographs and distribute as much as they possibly can to hopefully bring this to an end.
Por favor, él pide a toda la comunidad hispanohablante de que puedan ustedes difundir los videos y todas las fotos que también el señor Mera me ha dado para poder evitar este fraude, que continúe este fraude.
And that's come to where we are at this moment in time, Kosha. And if anybody has any questions, I'm quite happy to answer them.
Y ahora dice el señor Mera que si alguien tiene alguna pregunta que estaría él gustoso de responder. You can see all the questions when you go to YouTube to Are You With a Coach, Steve? Or do you want me to translate for you?
If you have any which can be translated, if you can mention any, I can certainly answer them.
Señores, por favor, es el momento ahora de que ustedes puedan hacer preguntas. El señor Mera está llano a escuchar a todo el mundo. Okay, I told them right now, let's see what they say. Maybe we get some more questions. Because you talk about Sri Lanka, and we said about that already.
Yes.
Someone asked that question. Okay, fine. Puedes hacerlo en español, ¿eh? Are you seeing the live stream from YouTube?
No, I didn't. I have not got my YouTube on because I didn't want to cause any feedbacks or problems.
You can put it on mute, and you can still see the chat. So when they ask, put it on mute in YouTube. Are You With a Coach? Do you know the place? No?
Okay. Yes, but is it in Spanish? Because I can't understand.
No, the people will be writing in English or maybe in Spanish. When it is in Spanish, I'll tell you.
Okay, let me find the YouTube channel, and then I will go straight onto it. And what is the name of the YouTube channel?
Nice question. Next question. I'll send it here.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yeah. Got it. Okay, let me put that into YouTube.
Okay, the question is regarding the Paracas mummies. Do you think they used real Paracas mummies to build Maria?
Maria is a real body which has been altered and manipulated with other human bones.
But he's asking about if you think this head that Maria has a connection to the Paracas mummies.
No, we don't believe Maria is anything to do with Paracas mummies. We talked with Brian Forster, who's a researcher of the Paracas skulls, and we don't believe she has a slightly elongated head, but that was probably down to boarding.
Ok, dice el señor, ya te escuchaste, pero lo voy a decir para todos, que él no cree que esté relacionada con momias paracas, pero que sí este cráneo está alargado por medio de esa presión que se hizo con telas, con bandas. Someone says that they are trying to contact this congressist with the name of Victor Andrés García Belaunde to bring Maussan down or to do all the things that must be done, you know?
Yes, that would be wonderful. It's very difficult for us to do this from the UK alone. We need as many people as we can to help that happen, to make this stop.
Sería muy bueno eso, dice Walter, porque él está en Inglaterra y necesita que la gente de Perú se mueva en esto para poder llegar al congresista y que le digan lo que está pasando y lo que ha encontrado el equipo del señor Mera, ¿no? Señores, la pregunta la respondió la respondió el señor Mera, pero tienen que ser los peruanos, porque el señor Mera está muy lejos. Yo también estoy en Alemania. And I am Peruvian, but I am in Germany, you know. I can't do that. Bueno, Walter, tienen que ustedes tratar de hacerlo, porque ni yo ni el señor Mera estamos en el Perú, ¿no? Otras preguntas, señores, aprovechen, por favor, esta oportunidad. That's the first time you've been interviewed in YouTube, isn't it?
On the full story, yes, this will be the very first.
Esta sería la primera. Thank you very much, Steve. Another question. Do you think that the institutions that are analyzing the DNA are not from trust?
There are many doctors that have been involved that cannot be trusted. When you carry out research, you will find that many of these doctors do not have a checkable background or are not qualified to make those statements.
El señor Mera dice que si ustedes se ponen a revisar quiénes son las personas que hablan acerca del DNA, no son personas que se pueda verificar que su currículum, que tengan un currículum para poder hablar del DNA como lo están haciendo.
It's very important to realize that some of these doctors will maybe doing it simply because they are being paid, and that some of these people that are involved are right at the top, maybe even part of the Peruvian government. Some of these may have connections, from what we have been told, with the Vaqueros, and also get paid from items found, like gold, from dug up graves.
You mean Peruvian officers from the ministry are involved also?
Maybe the odd politician. Yes.
Él dice, el señor Mera dice que hay sospechas también que gente en el gobierno están implicados en esto y que son pagados o son, digámoslo en el buen criollo, coimeados para poder intervenir y dar su intervención dando fe de este fraude, ¿no?
It's a very large and organized many people that are involved in this.
Hay mucha gente implicada en esto, dice. Are you reading the question? There are many petroglyphs depicting beings with 3 fingers in both hands and feet. What do you think about it?
The petroglyphs which were shown by Thierry Hamming are very questionable. They actually might be newly created. However, there are old pottery and there is old tapestries showing 3-fingered beings, absolutely. And the Nazca people talk about their ancestors that once knew or saw these 3-fingered beings. We do believe that some of these people had those experiences. However, their bodies are manufactured to make them fit with the cultural belief of these beings and what they look like.
Lo que dice el señor Mera Fallen es, y para todos los que no escucharon, es de que algunos de los petroglifos parecen que no son antiguos sino recién hechos, pero que en realidad sí hay en la iconografía entidades con 3 dedos y que ellos creen que las momias fueron hechas en base a esos petroglifos. But I wanted to tell you one thing. If there are petroglyphs with 3 fingers, Steve, that doesn't mean that was made by adult people. It could be the playground from kids. Don't you think?
It could be. We believe that some of these petroglyphs were made very recently and photographed to support the story. And also that there's been talk that, I know somebody asked a question about the Thierry Hamming and Jaime Massan not making money from this. Yes, they are making money from this. Yes, there has been money that has been paid out for analysis. And the whole reason why they want to continue is to make more money from this.
Lo que pasa es que el señor Mera dice de que parece que en realidad se tomaron fotos eh, exprofesamente a petroglifos que parece que fueron hechos y para poder apoyar este fraude, pero que en realidad había también gente que decía que Maussan no ganaba nada, ningún dinero de esto, y no es cierto. El señor Maussan y Thierry Yamin sí ganan dinero de todo esto, y eso apoya todo el fraude. There's another question here. Question: Many of Maussan researchers and Thierry Yamin said that they have not make any money from this. Instead, they lost money. Do you believe that? No, they didn't lose any money.
I don't believe. Initially, at first, they may have been, but Gaia TV paid a lot of money out to send Jaime Maussan and doctors to Cusco, and they provided several, I think 6 or 7 videos which have done considerably well and earned them considerable money. However, if there's further money at loss, this is the reasons why they want to continue. There is a lot of money at stake here, and at the end of the day, we have to remember that Maria has a price tag of $1 million on the black market, and the small bodies, which are also fake, have a price tag of $1,500 each.
No se deben de olvidar que Gaia mandó a Maussan con el equipo y que Maussan proveyó como de más de 5 videos o documentales para Gaia, y eso dio bastante dinero. Y aparte de eso también, de que María está valuada en $1 millón y los pequeñitos en $100,000. There is another question that, have you thought about the proceedings or the ways how we could retrieve the mummies or the bodies for a real analysis?
Well, the first thing is to have an officials pay a visit to the Inkari Institute and their second building with a warrant to examine the buildings to look for the bodies without them knowing. Now, the problem is that they could have those bodies removed temporarily and they move them from one place to another to keep them out the hands of the authorities. But that would be a start.
El comienzo sería para él de que el gobierno peruano le haga una visita inopinada a las instalaciones de Inkari y que entren al sitio donde él ha dicho que sería la puerta a la mano derecha, después de pasar un primer portón en el segundo piso para encontrar los cuerpos. El problema también es de que la gente de Inkari podría mover los cuerpos de un sitio a otro para evitar de ser encontrados.
Right? I also see a question there from somebody asking, do you believe that the so-called underground citadel where these beings were found and apparently they are live creatures living there? No, I do not believe there was ever a cave. There is no tomb, no cave, no citadel, no tunnels. Everything has been manufactured and photographed purposely to build the story up, and even to the point where they claim to have seen strange apparatus in there, which we just do not believe any of it is true. It's just an elaborate story to make the discoveries sound more feasible.
Fanny preguntó si es que habían encontrado la ciudad, y Steve Mera dice de que ellos no creen nada de eso porque solo nos han encontrado y que todo eso se dijo para poder hacer de esta historia más creíble. The thing is also, Steve, that we got the numbers or the coordinates, and we sent people, and they didn't find anything.
No, we didn't. We know. We've done satellite reviews of the locations. No, we do know that there are pot holes all over certain areas where graves are robbed, every single day, and bones are collected and all sorts of different things. We believe that there's a large amount of people that might be involved in manufacturing these things, all trying to make money at the end of the day. But the problem is what crimes are being committed in doing so.
Bueno, dice que en el Perú uno puede encontrar muchas cuevas y signos de huaquerismo, pero eso es solamente porque la gente quiere ganar dinero, pero que no está consciente, o muchos están conscientes de que eso es una acción ilegal y criminal. There's another question here from Jorge Tapia. He says, have you considered that the mummies were fake at the first moment that you analyzed them, or it took you time or months to realize that this was a hoax?
Well, from my work in this field, and I've done similar work like this around the world, and I always call it as it is and be truthful. And I had many suspicions that these were all fake. What I needed is to have confirmation from professors and doctors to back me up, and they, yes, they have, they all have, and which confirmed I was right from the beginning.
Bueno, él todo el tiempo que viene ya investigando tenía sus sospechas que todo esto era un fraude, pero que a pesar de eso, él necesitaba la opinión y el soporte de personas especializadas y expertas, y que después sí lo tuvo, como ya lo ha dicho, y que confirmaron y apoyaron y sustentaron lo que él sospechaba, que esto era un fraude. Someone says also, when you realized that Maria was a fake, why did you took till now to say that you said till now that it was an anomalous body?
Okay, I'll tell you the reasons why. What we did is we thought Maria was fake, her fingers and toes. But when the analysis was done, it came back as a mutation. So we thought, we wondered if that mutation was something to do with having really only 3 fingers and toes. It was only when we got confirmation from other doctors that there was more than one human bones added to those toes and feet, we realized that was where we took our DNA sample from. And that is what is called caused the mutation. Having one DNA sample with 2 people's bones in the same sample was unidentifiable. It's not a normal thing to see. And it was assumed it was a mutation when in fact it wasn't. All that did take some time.
But one thing before I say it in Spanish, Steve, if you cut from a bone, that's from person number A. And when you take the sample from bone B, you don't mix them. So how come it comes the mutation?
Because the sample was taken between the bones to prove to see if the actual bones belong to the body. Because we'd already took a sample from the body, so we want to make a reference, cross-reference to see if the toes belong to the body. And where we took the sample from got contaminated between the tissue from 2 different bones in one sample.
Ok, esto es una cosa muy importante. Miren, escuchen, lo que se encontró del híbrido fue simplemente porque ellos primero sacaron muestras del cercano a la piel del dedo, y después, para poder controlar, sacaron una muestra entre 2 huesos. Y ese resultado de entre 2 huesos salió que era un híbrido, pero solamente fue un híbrido hasta que supieron que esos eran 2 huesos diferentes de 2 seres humanos. Por eso es que llegaron a la conclusión que ese resultado híbrido era el resultado de haber sacado la muestra del medio de entre 2 huesos. Do you have the inform or the results from the mitochondrial DNA from GeneTech? Could you publish it?
We will publish it, yes. We are going to remove certain people's names to protect them, but partial parts of that report has already been done, is already out there. Thierry Hamin has the report. We sent it him. We will publish the report, absolutely. Most of the other samples did not work out because there was too much degradation from the bodies, too much contamination. In fact, our doctors were horrified to see the video, Gaia TV, the first one they put out, examining Maria on a rooftop in the middle of the hot day in Cusco, with people around her that weren't even dressed appropriately. and these were supposed to be doctors. Now, no doctor who's credible doctor would ever do that or allow them to be recorded. And Gaia TV said this was a scientific investigation. It was far from a scientific investigation. Our doctors were horrified that took place.
Bueno, lo que dice el señor es, para la pregunta de Jorge Tapia es, primero que el señor Mera tiene los resultados, pero para eso él va a borrar o ocultar los nombres de los expertos, porque como ustedes ya saben, el señor Maussan se viene en contra de todo esto y de esta gente. Segundo es que los expertos que analizaron todo esto y vieron el video de Gaia, en donde se ve que los expertos, entre comillas, están sacando las muestras, se horrorizaron de cómo sacaron las muestras en un techo sin ropa adecuada, a la luz del día, y donde todo el mundo, todo estaba volando en el aire. Eso no se hace. Do you read the question from Finding Stonefire, Steve?
Yes, the ancient culture. Now, I'm not a skeptic. You know, I've been around the world. I've done a lot of investigations over 34 years. Some of them very, ancient mysteries. And I will tell you, there are plenty of evidence to suggest that our ancient cultures, our ancient people, did and have had some form of communications with some type of beings, with advanced information on how to build and move blocks and agriculture and mathematics and many things. However, there is also humans which are responsible for faking things because it's big money, and they rely on the belief, the strong belief of people which believe anything that is put out over the internet. Unfortunately, though there is evidence to support some of these strange things, and especially in Peru as well, in ancient times, these modern mysteries do have a rational explanation. It's not the first time mummies like this have appeared, and it certainly probably won't be the last time.
Dice que no es la primera vez que momias de este tipo aparecen, no va a ser la última vez, pero que en realidad sí se puede decir de que hay mucha gente que está tratando de ganar dinero en cuanto haciendo estos mamotretos, pero que él también cree que ha habido contacto, pero bueno, es cuestión de más investigación. What I wanted to tell you is that we have to talk this afterwards because I have many other things to tell you about these things for you. ¿Alguna otra pregunta, señores? Bueno, Steve, you hold on and then Google because I want to tell you one thing afterwards. We have to end this because it's too late for you also.
That's okay. That's okay. And anybody who's got further questions, they can contact me on my Facebook, Steve Mera, Mera. And if they contact me, I can always translate it and answer any other questions that people have.
Steve, dice de que lo pueden contactar cuando quieran en el Facebook, bajo Steve Mera, y para poder también que él les proporcione la información. There's another question. Didn't you know the reputation from Maussan about these fakes? And if you
yes.
No, and if you did, why do you believe that what he said in public about the mummies?
I did not believe anything that Jaime says. However, because I'm an international lecturer and go to conferences all around the world, sometimes I'm lecturing, and so is Jaime. And I don't want to have problems at these events. I want to remain very professional. I let him have his beliefs, and I have my beliefs. But I could not sit back and let these crimes go unknown. No matter who steps forward and says these things to make money. Though I don't have a personal problem with Jaime Maussan, I'm very aware of the things he has been involved in and previous cases which are very questionable, and many other researchers do around the world. I try and be professional, but I could not sit back and let these crimes go unknown.
Bueno, el señor dice que él nunca creyó en lo que dijo Maussan, pero que sin embargo él se encuentra muchas veces como él es conferencista, el señor Mera, él se encuentra muchas veces también en el mismo sitio donde Maussan está dando conferencias. Entonces, en la forma como debe hacerse entre colegas y profesionales, él respeta lo que dice el señor Maussan, a pesar que él no está de acuerdo con lo que dice, pero es la creencia del señor Maussan y el señor Mera cree de otra forma. Eso es todo. Okay, Steve, I thank you very much for your time. Please stay on the Google Hangout. I have to tell you small things. And
Okay.
I thank you very much, and maybe you can say some words in Spanish.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, thank you, Coach. I mean, it's been wonderful to be able to tell the full story as it happened. And I want to thank all the listeners actually as well and participating with the questions. And like I say, when we all stand together, then we're strong, and we can make a difference. And it's about sharing information and letting people know that might be these people which might be wanting to go and pay money to go to a conference to listen about that, these RETs. The word needs to be spread, and I want to thank you for that. That was excellent.
Thank you, Steve. Steve dice que él agradece a todos aquellos que escucharon su disertación, que él pudo contar todo lo que él ha vivido sobre este fraude y que todos tenemos que estar unidos cuando alguien trata de engañarnos y pide dinero para poder contarnos un fraude, y que eso no debe de pasar, y que él agradece que a todos los que estuvieron ahí escuchándolo y preguntándolo. Ok, Steve, hold on just one moment.
Thank you.
Señores, entonces les agradezco mucho. Ya es un poco tarde y bueno, les quiero agradecer a todos. Dejen su like. Ya saben la historia cómo es. El señor Steve Mera ha tenido profesionales, ha tenido las muestras. Por supuesto, el señor Joyce Mantilla no ha querido decir nada. No le conviene, pero ya está. Muy bien, señores. Un saludo y hasta luego, señores. Cuídense.